Hey, what's up? It's Devin once again. This video is about who I think should win the NBA MVP award this year. Now first, let's break down the candidates first. First, we have James Harden of the Houston Rockets. We have Russell Westbrook of the Oklahoma City Thunder. We have Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics. We have Kawhi Leonard of the San Antonio Spurs. And LeBron James of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I'm going to break down each candidate first. First, James Harden. He's averaging 29 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists per game. And he's just having a great season. You know, an all-time great season. And next, Russell Westbrook. I mean, talk about all-time great season. He broke Oscar Robertson's single-season triple-double record. You know, a record that stood for 50 years. Then, Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics. Isaiah Thomas, you know, he's leading a Boston Celtics team that really has no quote-unquote superstars, if you will. Some even question if Isaiah Thomas is truly a superstar. But he's averaging, about 29 points a game, 28, 29 points a game. You know, something like that. He's their leading scorer. He's led them to a top 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And Kawhi Leonard, he's averaging 26 points per game. You know, he's probably going to make all NBA first team defensive player, possibly all NBA first team this year, if not the first, the second. And also he's led the San Antonio Spurs to the second most victories, regular season victories this year, behind the Golden State Warriors. And then last but not least, LeBron James. Can't say anything more than that. So now breaking down each of the candidates and their accomplishments this season, my opinion on who I think the NBA most valuable player should be, it should go to Russell Westbrook. And I'll tell you the reasons why. But first, let's talk about James Harden. And I know there's a lot of James Harden fans out there, and they feel that, he should win the MVP because his team has the third best record in the Western Conference. People weren't expecting them to be as good as they've been this year. And he's averaging, 29, 11, and 8. So I understand that. And a lot of people say that he's more efficient than Russell Westbrook. And there is some element to that. He's more efficient in terms of, shooting the basketball. But you compare the two, he's got a better supporting cast around him than Russell Westbrook. Eric Gordon, Ryan Anderson, they traded for Lou Williams at the trade deadline. He's surrounded by three-point shooters everywhere. And not to mention, you also have the fact, and this is sort of a little knock on James Harden, but it's the truth. He's playing under Mike D'Antoni. He's playing in Mike D'Antoni's system. And you go look at the history. Mike D'Antoni, he makes point guards in his system. I mean, he helped Steve Nash win 2 MVPs. The second one, a lot of people felt that he shouldn't have won. That Shaq should have won it that year. And, he helped, his system helped Steve Nash win those 2 MVPs. I mean, look what he did with Jeremy Lin in New York, with the New York Knicks. I mean, he had Jeremy Lin looking like an MVP candidate for a stretch. And we all know Jeremy Lin is not that caliber of player. But Mike D'Antoni had him looking that way because of his system. And not to not to take anything away from James Harden, because James Harden, even before Mike D'Antoni came in, was averaging 29 points a game, 29 points a game, and was already a superstar. That's a given. But, but this year he's taking it to another level because of Mike D'Antoni. So, not to mention the supporting the shooters that he has around him. Russell Westbrook doesn't have those shooters. He doesn't have 3-point snipers everywhere he looks. In fact, if he had those 3-point shooters around him, he would have more room to operate and attack the basket. And he's great at attacking the basket. He's better at that than James Harden. And in part because he's more athletic than him. So you put those shooters around Russell Westbrook, what do you think Russell Westbrook would be doing? Instead of averaging 10 assists a game, he probably would be averaging, 13, 14, maybe 15 assists a game with those 3-point snipers, if he had those 3-point snipers around him. Plus, the team as a whole around him isn't as good. You take him off this Thunder team, they'd be a lottery team. And I like Steven Adams, but Steven Adams has not emerged this year as people thought he would be after they gave him that $25 million, after they gave him that $100 million contract where he's getting $25 million a year. I like Enes Kanter as an offensive big man. You can make a case for him as 6th man of the year. And I like Victor Oladipo, but Victor Oladipo hasn't been the player this year that I thought he could possibly be. I thought Victor Oladipo coming into the season would emerge and be Russell Westbrook's Robin to his Batman. And he's been inconsistent in that regard. So you take those into account. If you take James Harden off the Houston Rockets, with Mike D'Antoni's system and the 3-point shooters they have, they probably would be a 7th seed, an 8th seed in the West. You could probably put them over the Denver Nuggets and possibly Portland. Now, if you take Russell Westbrook off the Thunder, they're a straight up lottery team, and that's the truth. So, as far as I'm concerned, the MVP award has to go to him. And plus, because when Kevin Durant left him to go to Golden State, he left him basically holding the bag. That was all his fault that they didn't win a championship, when the truth of the matter is, it's not all Russell Westbrook's fault. Some of it is his fault, because he can be erratic at times. So some of it is his fault, but some of it is not his fault. There were times where I saw Kevin Durant play, especially when he's going up against LeBron, whether it's regular season, postseason, he looked like he didn't want it. Russell Westbrook, to me, looked like he wanted it more than he did. And Russell Westbrook comes across as that type of cat where, if KD, you have a teammate who everybody say is more talented than you and better player than you, but he don't want it, then why should I pass you the ball? If that's the kind of attitude you have, you got to want it. And there were times where Kevin Durant, especially going up against LeBron, he didn't want it. Russell Westbrook wanted it more than he did. So yeah, you could talk about where he turned the ball over too much. He's erratic. His decision making can be erratic at times. We saw in the Western Conference Finals, yes, there was that case, but let's go back. Kevin Durant was more at fault for that Game 6 loss than Russell Westbrook was. Now, Russell Westbrook did play a hand in that. No denying that. But Kevin Durant was more at fault. Even Stephen A. Smith from ESPN First Take even agrees with that assessment. And he knows about the sport of basketball. So think about that for a second. And then they played Game 7. Look, they weren't going to beat Golden State in Game 7. When they lost Game 6, the series was pretty much done. Game 7 was just a mere formality. Golden State had so much momentum behind them. There was no way they were going to lose Game 7 in their own house. The same way when the finals came, when Cleveland came back from the 3-1 deficit, they won Games 5 and 6, and they just had so much momentum in their favor, in their direction. You kind of knew Cleveland, LeBron and them were going to win Game 7 because the momentum was in their favor. Combined with the fact that Andrew Bogut was out, so they can attack the basket without worrying about getting their shot rejected. So, so for the most part, some of the criticism that Russell Westbrook had gotten, some of it I thought was unfair. Some of it is fair, but I thought some of it was unfair. Russell Westbrook, he's an old school cat. He's got that dog in him. The same dog that Jordan and Kobe had, which to a guy like a Kevin Durant, it's tough to deal with. It's obviously tough for him to play with. Russell Westbrook is an assassin, a killer. And a lot of people lament KD for not having that kind of instinct, which is what led him to make the decision to go to Golden State. So, because KD left him basically high and dry to go to Golden State, I'm rooting for Russell Westbrook to be successful. Now, do I think that they're going to beat Houston in the first round? I say possibly they could beat the Rockets in the first round. Especially if Houston jack ups all those 3-point shots and if those 3-point shots don't fall, which could happen because you live by the 3-point shot, you die by the 3-point shot. Ask Golden State last year in the NBA Finals. If those 3-point shots aren't falling for the Houston Rockets against the Thunder, I can see Russell Westbrook, and the Thunder winning this series, having to go on the road to Houston and all. I could see them winning the series if the Houston Rockets aren't making all those 3-point shots. But that's not what the MVP award is about. The MVP award is about the most valuable player within the regular season. And to me, that's Russell Westbrook. I'm sorry, James Harden fans. In any other year, Harden would win the MVP, no doubt. A lot of people felt that he should have won it 2 years ago over Steph Curry. And I kind of agree with that. But Steph Curry is popular. He was on the team with the best winning record. So it was a perfect storm for him. And even though the players that year, if they had it their way, they would have voted for James Harden. But the players don't get a chance to vote. It's the media. And the fans can have influence on the media too. In terms of encouraging, them who they think they should vote for. So at the end of the day, that's who I'm rocking with. Russell Westbrook as your NBA most valuable player for 2016-2017 regular season. Bye. Have a nice day.